Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube. Hello, art history enthusiasts and visual culture aficionados. It's me again, Miss Sam. And I'm back with yet another video. Uh, Today, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about Eyes Wide Shut. I finally watched that movie, and I thought it was pretty darn good. Not in the same way that The Shining is good, but it's a Stanley Kubrick movie. It's something that he wanted to say. He said something that he wanted to say in the movie Eyes Wide Shut. And I figured, if you're following me on this channel and following my thoughts and my ideas regarding The Shining, among other branches of Kubrickology, I figured you would be interested possibly in hearing what I have to say about Eyes Wide Shut, because I've been talking off and on about watching it in my videos for the longest darn time. And I finally did. So let's get into it. Before I get started, I'm going to do my church announcements. Now that I've said what this video is going to be about, I'm going to talk about Eyes Wide Shut, and I'm going to talk about it in relation to Kubrick's entire body of work, all 13 of his movies, and in relation to not just the 13 movies that he did make, but there's a couple in particular that he didn't make. One in particular I'm going to talk about today is the Napoleon movie, because I think that Eyes Wide Shut has a lot to do with the Napoleon movie that Stanley Kubrick never got the chance to make. Okay, so now you know what I'm going to talk about. Now you can make your decision as to whether you want to stay or go. So everybody, thank you for watching the more recent ones. The why the Wendy theory is bad. Coffee break. Thank you for your comments on there. I'm gonna be doing a viewer mail pretty soon once again. And what does the 1921 July 4th ball photo really mean? Thank you for all of your comments on that. Let me do the church announcements. People, it's time. Fire up the percolator, because it's time, you guys. It's time to have a little cup of coffee, or a big one, with me, Miss M. Returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it so much. 845 of you. I appreciate it like you wouldn't believe. No, I'm not where I'd like to be yet, but that don't matter. I've got you all, and I appreciate you so much. Also, let me remind you, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. If you know anybody who might be interested in it, please especially like. Just drop everything you're doing. Okay, and like this video right now. And hit the notification bell, for God's sake. I was going over my analytics, and it looks like a lot of you have not hit your notification bell, even though you might be subscribed to me. I don't know why you wouldn't do that, but you know what? That's none of my business. I'm just suggesting. I'm making a suggestion that maybe you should hit the notification bells to be notified every time I make one of my videos. If you want to know when I do that, go ahead and hit that bell. And that's that. Get the coffee ready. Get the Maxwell House, or order some whatever, wherever you go, Starbucks, Pete's, the coffee bean, Dietrich's, Dunkin' Donuts, and get their iced coffees, and they harpoon a couple of donuts onto that straw that's sticking up out of the iced coffee. I have yet to have one of those, but I would like to. I really would. I was just talking with Gershom too. I've been avoiding carbs since May of this year. And I miss them like the deserts miss the rain. I wish I could just have some, I don't know, some potatoes, potato salad, spaghetti, like gluten-free for me, but spaghetti with like whatever kind of sauce, or like Alfredo sauce. Oh, I love a good creamy Alfredo sauce with pasta, French fries. Yes. Rice. I used to love making fried rice. Haven't had any of those foods in, what is it, November? Almost November. It's still October. So 10 minus 1. So about 5 months. I haven't, a little over 5 months. I haven't had anything like that. No tortilla chips, no rice, no nothing. I'm gonna crack my crock. Let's hope my next A1C reading is good so I can maybe have some Mexican food. I don't know. I might just celebrate Halloween and go have some Mexican food and say, fuck it. Let me just have some tortilla chips. But you guys, I watched Eyes Wide Shut last night, and so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many things to think about. And those of you who are new to the channel, my videos tend to be long. Yes, that's why I suggest that people have a cup of coffee and something to eat or whatever, because this is not the kind of video that you could just passively enjoy. No, that's not what we do here. You're gonna have to lean in and pay attention, okay? And I've noticed a lot of my viewers and listeners are people who, they do that. They lean in and they pay attention. And a lot of you work in like fields, professions where you just do that because that's what the profession requires. And so I'm very happy to say that my viewership is very educated and very astute. Okay, so if you stick around, you can be part of the you can be part of the elite intelligentsia that studies Kubrickology along with me. So there, you could be one of the cool kids if you subscribe and hit that notification bell. But this video might get a lot of views because Eyes Wide Shut is one of those movies that everybody thinks they're going to see a lot of nudity and sexual activity. There is a lot of nudity. There is. You're gonna see, if you've never seen this movie before, you're gonna see a lot of butts. Oh my God, ever so many butts everywhere. I don't know if you've seen the movie already. Have you noticed all the butts? There's so many. The movie starts with a butt. It really does. Hold on, let me find it. You're not going to see the butt because I'm not going to get demonetized. I wish I was monetized in the first place. But Nicole Kidman, this is right before she takes this dress all the way off, and then you see her butt. And like that's the movie starts with a goddamn butt. And I was like, what is this? I mean, she's very pretty. Yeah, and I'm very jealous. I wish I could look like that. That's what I've been working towards all year, like working out and avoiding those delicious carbs. But I don't think I'll ever make it to Nicole Kidman's status. This is the first shot of the movie, which I'm not going to do shot by shot. This is just my initial reaction after having watched it last night. I'm going to probably have to watch it again. If I'm going to do an analysis, I'm going to do something similar to what I'm doing with FMJ, as we in the community of Kubrickologists call it. Where's the thing? I'm going to do another one of these pretty soon too. Full Metal Jacket Analysis Part 1. Part 2 is on the way. Don't worry. But yeah, we start this movie off with a butt. All right. And then we see this lamp in the corner. And this is off of the Hartford's, Bill and Alice's bedroom. We see a closet. Okay. That's where I guess they keep their clothes. And this door of the closet, which is the door, is also a mirror. Or how do they say it in Boston? Gershom, mirror. It's partially open. Okay, so that's interesting. We got a couple of tennis rackets in the corner over here under this lamp, which is a funky lamp with a funky like craned neck. But these tennis rackets are not there later. They're replaced by, I think, Bill's golf clubs. We got Alice's shoes all stacked, not stacked, but lined up against this wall. And yes, if you're wondering, there are radiators in this movie. We might be looking at one of them here. This windowsill underneath the blinds. That is not the wall. It's not just a design on the wall. I think this is a heating system, or you can see the center panel of this thing underneath the window is, it's got kind of like a mesh. It's a very fine mesh kind of covering. I think that's, I don't live in New York City, but this is all through the Hartford's apartment in New York, and they live in Central Park West, don't you know? Which is interesting, an interesting choice for the place for them to live. James Comey, former director of the FBI, just recently wrote a book that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not going to look it up now, but I'm pretty sure it's called Central Park West. So, okay. So this, I don't know if it's a radiator or it's just a vent. And I've covered vents from The Shining. So if it's a radiator, okay. If you're from New York and you've been in New York apartment buildings or whatever kind of buildings, and you've seen this kind of set up for a place for the hot air to come out of when the heater switched on, tell me what this is. We see radiators, like the classic accordion looking model in other places in the movie, notably in Ziegler's bathroom. I remember, like, when the camera showed it, I said, okay, there it is. There goes a radiator. With these things under the window, I'm not sure. Are they radiators or are they vents that also deliver hot air, but not, there's a difference between radiators and forced air heating. I covered that in one of my Shining videos. And then, okay, this is not the bedroom, but it's right off of the bedroom. And you got the window with these red curtains. Okay. You got these columns, hello, that come to us straight from ancient Greece. All right, you have her, okay, and like I said, I'm not going to show her butt in this. What I'm going to have to do, if I'm going to do Eyes Wide Shut, is like you can do a thing if you've never made a YouTube video before. You can do a thing where you make it so that nobody under the age of 18 can watch your video. I might have to do that with all the nudity. They don't suggest that. They say that's bad for your channel. But if I'm going to talk about this video and like not have to use black bars to cover up all the butts and boobies, there's so many breastises too in this video. Like, people think it's a sex in this movie, sorry. People think the Eyes Wide Shut is a sexy movie. No. Not even a little bit. Even though you see all those butts and all those naked ladies, and there is a little bit of sex, but it's not sexy sex. It's the kind of sex where you see it and you're like, really, okay. This is not meant to be titillating at all. I mean, and I've got so many things to say about the kind of Stanley did it again. Let me just put it that way. In short, Stanley did it again. Okay, and we start the movie off with nudity. Again, Nicole Kidman has taken this dress off, and we don't see her wear this dress throughout the movie. This is the only place we see her wear this dress. This is the only part of the movie. She wears this black, like, number of this dress with these beautiful strappy sandals that I would love to have for myself. These are so cute. I don't know about the dress, but the sandals are perfect. Perfect. They probably don't make them anymore, and I probably couldn't even find a good never mind. And she has like that curly red hair. Lots of red-haired women in this movie. And you know who that makes me think of? Susie, the secretary from The Shining. Anyway, Nicole Kidman, this is the only part of the movie where we see her wear this like black backless, dress. And she takes it off, and we see, you could already see she's not wearing a bra. And when she takes it all the way off, you can see she's not wearing underwears either. She's not wearing panties. She's not wearing nothing. No stockings, no panties, no bra, no slip, no nothing. And I'm like, I'm one of those women. I'm one of those people. I just need to wear undergarments. I don't understand people. I hope I'm not insulting anybody, but I really don't understand people who don't wear underpants. I guess it really does take all kinds of people to make a world. But no. Like, how could you not wear underpants? And like, oh, but she's not wearing them. So that means that she didn't put them on. She didn't wear them. Like, where has she been is basically the mystery of this whole opening sequence of the movie. Was she at the party, the naked party that Bill was at in the movie? Was she there? Or was she somewhere else? Why are we being shown her undressing in the beginning of the movie, just with no context whatsoever? No context whatsoever. None. And okay, there's on the left side of this thing that we're looking at is the mirror door closet. There's the window, and I don't know whether or not this is an impossible window or not. Like, no, I was just commenting about the heating system under the window. Tennis rackets, weird lamp that isn't there later. Columns. Stanley has like this thing with columns. There seem to be 4 of them, 2 on either side. And the part that you can't see from this angle, but that you can see like immediately after when the movie starts, after the opening credits, is this thing over here is a bookshelf. Bookshelf filled with books, very similar to the Torrance's apartment in The Shining. There's books everywhere in the Hartford apartment. The Hartford apartment is much more ritzy and opulent than the Torrance's apartment in Boulder, Colorado. But the same thing. There are books everywhere. And not just books. With the Torrance's, it's like books. Lots and lots and lots of books. With this apartment, there's books and lots of art on the walls. Lots of paintings. You're going to see a lot of art in this movie. Which is like, I think it's keeping in the theme that I think Stanley has been doing in all of his movies. Art is not necessarily a good thing. Art is or has been weaponized. Okay, so we don't know where she's been. We don't know why she's wearing this particular black dress. We don't see her wear it in any other part of the movie. What's going on? And why isn't she wearing any underwear? Like, that just... And again, I'm not judging people who wear... I don't understand it, but I'm not judging people who don't wear underwear. Like, but in her case, I think the lack of underwear is to provide, like, easy access for, you know, whoever is trying to access her down there where the underwear should be. Okay? Excuse me. Now that's that. You know, I'm not going to get into depth here. No, because I can't. I'm going to talk. You're going to hear me talk. If you enjoy hearing me talk, this is the video for you. But I watched the movie last night, and it immediately... Oh, hold up. Made me think of this. I'm not going to read you this article, but maybe in the future. This is an article from 2010. Vice. I think Vice, are they like on their way out? Like, I don't know what's going on with that website, but Stanley Kubrick's Napoleon, a lot of work, very little actual movie. We talked to Tony Frewen, Kubrick's assistant from 1965 until his death, about what it was like to be caught up in the director's Napoleonic vortex. Again, this is interesting. I want to read it one day, but not today. I'm just making you aware of it. Oh Lord, looks like he wanted Audrey Hepburn to play Josephine. Well, that would have been interesting. And you'll see why in a minute. Napoleon. Okay, Napoleon. And then there's this. There's this as well. Read Stanley Kubrick's Napoleon script and peruse his plans for world domination. Is he talking about Napoleon or Stanley Kubrick's plans for world domination? This is from a website called No Film School. I'm going to leave this in the description so you can read them. I don't know if I'll read them right now. because I don't want to like bog you down with too much info. The point of me showing you this, along with the Napoleon script, which again, I'll leave the Google Doc link in the description, and you can read through this whole thing. The pages aren't even numbered. Lord, but down here it says 155 pages. Okay. Look at it. 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 There's so much of it. And I haven't read the whole thing. I've read a good portion of it, maybe a good third of it. But I read enough of it to get the idea that Stanley Kubrick really wanted to make this movie. This is a screen. Look at this, what it says here. Napoleon, a screenplay by Stanley Kubrick. I don't know. I'll have to look into it a little more. I think that this is all original Stanley. This is 100% Stanley, this screenplay. I don't think he adapted this from any novel. I don't think. I'm not sure, but I don't think. He really wanted to make this movie. It was going to be like 3 hours long. And like the one that the Taschen book that I linked for you from Archive, it's gone. Somebody took it off of there. Whatever, Taschen. But he really wanted to make this movie. He seems like he was obsessed with making this movie. It was supposed to be a 3-hour spectacle, and it would have cost a bunch of money. And I think that's why, if I remember correctly, the studio, that's why they didn't allow him to do it financially. They didn't allow him because they wouldn't fund it. That's all they had to do to put the kibosh on the Napoleon project by Stanley Kubrick. But they had somebody else make a Napoleon movie, and that's another reason maybe why they didn't let him do it, because other directors were making Napoleon movies right around that time. So they didn't want to just, they didn't want to maybe compete with those movies or whatever. I don't know. Big mistake, Warner Brothers. You should have let Stanley make his Napoleon movie. It would have been awesome. But the thing about this Napoleon movie, and I'll talk to you about it in the context of not just Eyes Wide Shut, but every single last one of Stanley Kubrick's movies, I think. At least every single last one of Stanley Kubrick's movies after 2001: A Space Odyssey. Let me just narrow it down to that. Kubrick really wanted to make the Napoleon movie. Studio wouldn't let him. They wouldn't finance it. And Kubrick said, "Okay. All right. If that's how you feel, Warner Brothers, you won't let me make my movie. You won't let me make my Napoleon movie and let me say what I want to say in my Napoleon movie. I'm gonna say it in all my other movies. Whatever movie you force me to make by that's what I think happened with The Shining. Kubrick was basically forced to use. I think that Kubrick was forced to make a movie based on Stephen King's awful book, because the studio basically told him. They sent him the book. There was the story about him throwing books up against the wall that Stephen King has told. Complete fabrication. That man is a demon. He's a liar. No, I don't. I'm pretty sure that is not what happened. He was not like reading book after book after book and getting mad and like throwing them up against the wall when he didn't like the book. No, Warner Brothers sent him The Shining and said, do something with this, make this. And because like it was Stephen King, the world of movies and Hollywood was going Stephen King crazy in the late 70s, and I still can't figure out why. The movies were good. Brian De Palma's Carrie is good. The book, I don't know. I haven't read it, and I don't know if I want to. I've looked at a little bit of The Shining. The book, I mean. No. The movie's way better than the book, in my opinion. But like that's what the studio was doing to him. That's what Warner Brothers was doing to him. They were making him do what they wanted him to do. And, people think of the great Stanley Kubrick, the great film director, and he still is the great Stanley Kubrick. But he didn't have the freedom to just do whatever he wanted, because he was working for the studio. He couldn't, do all the stuff on his own, at least not financially. He needed their backing. So because he needed their backing, he was also expected to play by their rules, right? And that's why Napoleon never got made. But The Shining did. Okay. But so Kubrick, being the genius that he was, said, okay, Warner Brothers, all right. If you're not going to let me make what I want to make, Napoleon, okay, I'll make whatever you tell me to make with this cockamamie Stephen King book, but I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to incorporate from 2001 A Space Odyssey onward. I think he was incorporating in all of those movies elements of what he really wanted to do with Napoleon. He just spread it out from Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and finally his last one, Eyes Wide Shut. And with Eyes Wide Shut, I thought, that I was crazy because I always think I'm crazy, but I thought, like, my little theory about him incorporating threads of Napoleon into all of his movies after 2001. I thought I was like reaching when I said that, but no, I think I'm right. I think I'm right about that, especially with Eyes Wide Shut. Especially with Eyes Wide Shut. I think that Kubrick wanted to make the Napoleon movie because he admired Napoleon Bonaparte. He thought that Napoleon, for some reason, he's a very contentious figure. Like, some people think he was great. He's, I think, pretty much hands down, if I'm not mistaken about this, pretty much hands down, he's like the best military mind, the best general, the best military organizer, strategist, what have you, in the history of the world. That's how good he was at getting shit done with regard to battlefields and militaries and wars and directing his troops and putting together whatever it is that he wanted to do. The problem with Napoleon is, at least from what we know, and here's Napoleon's Wikipedia page. Not like his character flaw was he wanted to break into the aristocracy. I don't think he was part of the aristocracy. He wasn't part of the he wasn't high class. He wasn't. But he wanted to be part of that. And you can't be part of that. They won't let you in. As Bill Hartford very quickly finds out. Okay, in Eyes Wide Shut. And he wanted to get into that circle of people, influence, whatever, but he couldn't. He was so intelligent and such a crazy intelligent mind, and again with regard to military things, he was an amazing student. He was just a genius excuse me, in his own right, in so many different ways, Napoleon. And that's why he did get that's why he did do as well as he did. Okay, and but something about the aristocracy, royalty, the aristocracy, the ruling classes, that he basically displaced during his career. He got that far. And booted out. Was it him? If I'm not mistaken. Oh Lord. I think he booted out the King of France. But that didn't last too long. They had their revolution, but that's another video for another time. Okay. The Emperor of the French. He was the Emperor of the French from 1804 to 1814, and briefly again in 1815. So he did a lot, in spite of just not being part of that upper class. He worked extremely hard. He did everything he had to. He married the woman that he thought that he had to marry in order to qualify him for entry. She couldn't stand him. Josephine, of course, if you read Kubrick's script, Josephine couldn't stand him. He was madly in love with her, but she just didn't give a flying shit about him. No. Josephine is detestable in this script, if you read it, and I'll leave it in the description for you. Now, why do I believe, what is this? There she is. Is the Alice character Josephine in this movie? I don't know. Is the Tom Cruise character supposed to be Napoleon in the Eyes Wide Shut movie? I don't know. I just don't know. But so the reason I like I said, after 2001: A Space Odyssey, the movies Stanley Kubrick made after 2001: A Space Odyssey was him trying to incorporate elements of the Napoleon story that he wanted to do in those movies. Like I said, Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut. Am I forgetting any of them? I don't know, but I'll look it up some other time. Why do I think that Eyes Wide Shut is basically he crammed the most Napoleon stuff into Eyes Wide Shut. Out of those 4 movies that I just mentioned, the most Napoleon stuff is in Eyes Wide Shut. 2 reasons. And again, I'm not doing visuals today. You're just going to have to listen to me talk. The daughter's name. Let me just pull up. Hold on. Let me take a little coffee break and, well, shit, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, you guys, here we are at his filmography page. So, 2001. Okay, hold up. 2001. Oh, yeah. 1, 2. Wait. Oh, Clockwork. I forgot freaking Clockwork. That's the one I forgot. Okay, so Clockwork, Barry Lyndon, Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut. All of these, The Spy Who Loved Me doesn't count because he just did lighting design. But all of these are his Napoleon movie put together. Various elements, various aspects of each one of those 5, not 4. I knew I was forgetting one. Clockwork, Lyndon, Shining, FMJ, and Eyes Wide Shut. Hold on 1 minute. Hello again, everybody. Oh, there was an interruption, but I'm back. And what was I saying with regard to Napoleon? I said all of the movies after 2001 are Stanley basically putting in elements of what he really wanted to do with Napoleon in these 5 movies: A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. But especially Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut seems to be the culmination. Even though the actor who played the hotel clerk said that everybody on the set knew it was going to be Stanley Kubrick's last movie, which is, how do I say it? It directly contradicts what Christiane said, his wife, after his death, that no, Eyes Wide Shut, he didn't think it would be his last movie. He had many more planned. Okay, but whatever. Okay, so what? Let me just kind of cut right to the chase here. There's lots to talk about with Eyes Wide Shut. Let me just click on that one while we're here. Eyes Wide Shut is especially, I believe, refers to the Napoleon movie and Napoleon's life. Now, where did Napoleon die? The island of St. Helena. Okay? The Hartford's, where is it? Oh Lord, oh, there it is. The Hartford's daughter. What is her name? It says right here. Is she credited? Yes. No. Lily Sobieski. Helena is the name of the Hartford's daughter, Bill and Alice Hartford. And it's not Hartford, it's Hartford. Okay? So, what's going on? What in the world is going on? And Helena was the island that first he was exiled to Elba, and then somehow he made it back, and then he finally was exiled to St. Helena, and he died there. He lived to be 51 years old, Napoleon. And again, his relationship with Josephine is basically the focus of Napoleon, the movie that Stanley never got to make. There's Helena. The Hartford's daughter is named Helena. So is the island that Napoleon died on. And also, let me go back to the Wikipedia page. In the last part, it says, the last part when they're in the toy store. The very last part of the movie. And, Bill finds the rented mask on the pillow. Where is it? It's right here. And then he says to Alice, I'm going to tell you everything. I'll tell you absolutely everything. Alice tells her about a dream she had. When he walks in on her sleeping, she's sleeping, but she's laughing in her sleep. And then she explains her dream, and I'll talk about that a little bit. And then the next day, they spend the night talking, and Bill tells her everything about where he was and what happened with the party, and then after the party. And they end up at the toy store with the little girl, Helena. Which they don't call her Helena in every scene. They no, but whatever. Seems to me they usually call her Helen, but her name is Helena. And I think that's a direct reference to Napoleon's life. There's also in the toy store, Helena, the little girl sees some teddy bears. And she says, oh, I really want, will Santa get me this teddy bear for Christmas? Because it's the Christmas season when that's happening during this movie. Okay. Well, Napoleon, the movie that Stanley never got to make, both begins and ends with a teddy bear. As you can see in the script here, that was written September 29th, or that's the date he put on it, September 29th, 1969. And when you compare that to his other movies, 68 is when Odyssey was released, and then 71 is Clockwork. And in that time period, they rejected his Napoleon idea. A well-worn teddy bear is cradled in the arms of Napoleon, age 4, who dreamily sucks his thumb listening to a bedtime story told by his young mother, Letizia. His 5-year-old brother Joseph is already asleep beside him. Okay. A well-worn teddy bear. Okay. And at the end of the Napoleon movie that never got made, after everything is said and done, I'm scrolling vigorously. Hold on, I'll get there, I promise. Okay, where are we? Oh, what a long ass script. So this was going to be a 3-hour movie, can you tell? Okay. In the last part of the movie, and there's his notes at the end and the whole thing. His mother, dressed in black, this is after his death. His mother, Letizia, dressed in black, sits alone, a study of gloom and lament. The shutters are closed, and the semi-darkness of the room is broken by slivers of sunlight. The camera moves slowly away from Letizia to an open portmanteau. It is filled with very old children's things, faded toys, torn picture books, wooden soldiers, and the teddy bear Napoleon slept with as a child. And that's Helena, the little girl, wants a teddy bear in the movie. And there's also the prostitute. Hold on. What was her name? Oh, Lord. I think, was it Domino or something like that? Yeah, Domino. She also has a stuffed animal on her bed in her apartment. It's not a bear, it's a tiger. Again, cats. Pussy. Okay, we're going to have to talk about that in future videos. Now, you thought this was going to be a video about me talking about Eyes Wide Shut, and it is. It is. The thing is, Eyes Wide Shut is an extremely complicated movie. It's an extremely complicated movie. All right. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And like again, oh gosh, hold on. Let me go to the filmography again. Kubrick filmography, right? Um there they are, right? There they are. And a lot of the criticism that Stanley Kubrick gets, especially recently, is his treatment of women. People have called him a misogynist, a sexist, and their reasoning for doing so, their evidence is very flimsy. I've said this before on my channel, and I'm saying it again. I do not believe that Stanley Kubrick was a sexist or a misogynist filmmaker. I actually believe he loved women. He worshipped them. Um, and he felt bad for them. He felt bad for a woman's lot in life. He felt that somehow, somewhere along the way, women got the short end of the stick. He doesn't believe that women are without blame, but the characters in the female characters in his movies, the prominent ones, like Alice, like Wendy, and in Barry Lyndon, his woman played by Marissa Berenson. These women are not without fault, but they're still not the products of a misogynist mind. He's not criticizing the women so much as he's criticizing why they are the way they are, and that definitely goes for Alice too, played by Nicole Kidman. Now let me get into this. Like I said, at the end of the movie, there she is at the beginning. We start the movie looking at her in her little temple. This is meant to mimic this dressing room. They have a huge apartment, and I've heard by New York standards, like, most apartments are tiny. Even nice ones, even expensive ones, are not very big. Their apartment is giant. It's big and beautiful and very richly decorated with all those books and all that artwork. But the kitchen in the apartment like bugs me when I'm looking at real estate listings, whether it's Zillow or whatever. First thing I look for is the kitchen, and if the kitchen is fucked up, I don't even want to look at the rest of the house. That's just me, though. Um, or sometimes, have you all noticed in some of those real estate listings, sometimes they don't even show you a picture of the kitchen? And for me, that's a definite red flag. Anyway, um, but that's just me. That's how I look at things, how critical I am, and how suspicious. But we start off the movie with Nicole Kidman's body in her temple. Okay, this is her dressing room. This is their dressing room. And like I said, this thing over here that we can't see, it's a bookshelf filled with books, and this is off of their bedroom. Um, and she takes the dress off and the whole thing. She's like a Greek statue, very similar. Is she Venus? Is she Athena? Is she, some other female goddess from the Greek and or Roman pantheon? I don't know. But these pillars, and because this is how a Greek temple is designed. A Greek temple is not meant to be a house of worship. It's meant to be a house where the deity lives, and the deity is represented by the cult statue, in the center of the Greek temple. And that center, that space reserved for the statue of the deity, is called the cella. Okay, so there she is. This is where are we meant to worship her? Possibly. Is she? I talked to you about Inanna. All right. I talked somewhere, but one of my earlier videos, I talked about Inanna from Mesopotamia. That hoe. Yeah, I said it. Inanna was a hoe. She was a nymphomaniac. She would go through about 120 men a day. Now, she was a goddess, so she had those kind of physical capabilities that mortal women do not have. But that was just to demonstrate how hungry she was for sexual things and everything. She was not just an nymphomaniac or, a hypersexual, I guess is the politically correct way of saying that now. She was greedy. greedy, vain, arrogant, the whole thing. And Inanna in Mesopotamia is the great, 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 great grandmother of the figure that we now call the Virgin Mary. Completely opposite, right? Inanna was this nympho. The Virgin Mary is very well known for being a virgin, at least in the story of Jesus's conception and birth. But that's where we get her from. Okay, there's a couple stops along the way. There's Inanna, and then there's like Isis in Egypt, and then there's, like I said, Aphrodite, possibly like a combo of Aphrodite and Athena in Greece, and all the way down to the Virgin Mary. Okay. And in Judeo-Christian religion and mythology, I'm concentrating especially on the Christian part, there's Eve. Okay, and we know that story. Everybody knows that story, especially in the Western world. We know the story, at least roughly, of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Okay, God created the heavens and the earth, took him about a week, and then he rested. I don't know when, during what part of that process he created Adam and then Eve, but he did. And Adam and Eve were given one rule. One single solitary rule. You can do whatever you want in this paradise Garden of Eden, except eat the apple from that tree. Don't touch that tree. Don't eat the fruit off of that tree. And people, we call it an apple, but is it? We see apples. I think we see paintings featuring apples in this movie. So stay with me now. And, you can look at her, but I'm not going to show you her butt. No. Well, you can look at her while I'm talking, because this is about her and what she represents. Inanna, Aphrodite, Isis, Mary. Okay. So in the Garden of Eden, they had the tree. They could look at it, but not touch it. They could look at it, but don't eat the fruit. And it's called an apple. It might not have been an apple. Might have been some other kind of fruit. Like I said, maybe it was a pomegranate. Maybe it was something else. I don't know. But we're just so used to using the apple. Okay, so we just in our minds it's just the apple from the tree in the Garden of Eden, and that's the forbidden fruit, right? Well, you know what Eve did. Eve did something stupid. They had one rule and they couldn't even follow that. So Eve was tempted by the serpent. Okay? And she fell for it. She fell for the okie doke, and she ate the apple. And it wasn't, as if that wasn't bad enough. She ate the apple because that serpent fooled her. Okay, allegedly fooled her. I don't know the intricacies of the story. But then, as if that wasn't bad enough, then she gets Adam to eat the apple. And then God said, what? What? Really? Adam and Eve? Really? That's the one thing I told you not to do. You could do everything else except that, and then you just couldn't help yourselves, now could you? And then they get banished from the Garden of Eden. And then they realize that they're naked. Before their banishment and their expulsion from the Garden of Eden, they're naked, but they don't know it. Okay, and after they leave the Garden of Eden, it's just that's when all the bullshit begins. And we, as humanity, as humankind, we can blame all of our problems, all of them, on Adam and Eve, especially women. Because Adam, he was just minding his business, and here comes his woman, Eve, with some bullshit, telling him to eat the apple. And, how is that interpreted? Just to shut her up, he does it or whatever? I don't know. And then they're expelled from the Garden of Eden, and they become aware of their own nudity. And that's why nudity is so important. I'm pronouncing it like Hank Hill from King of the Hill. He's disgusted by nudity. Oof. But that's why we see so many butts in this movie. In most of them are female butts, almost exclusively. I think there's one exception of a male butt. But that's about it. Most of them are naked females. And this is the first one we see. This is the first butt we see in the movie. And The movie is called Eyes Wide Shut. People, let's not forget the title of the movie. Just like with the movie The Shining, I keep reminding you that the movie is called The Shining when I talk about various things. With this one, I guess I'm going to have to keep reminding you that the movie is called Eyes Wide Shut. All right? And everybody's like, what does that title mean? It's so weird. And Alice, okay, and again, I'm reminded by the Sisters of Mercy song, Alice. Um, where was it? Okay, so he comes home and he's like, I'll tell you everything, I'll tell you everything. And she's like laughing in her sleep, and she wakes up and she tells him, about her dream. And even though she was laughing and she sounded like she was having a good time in that dream, apparently she was not laughing because she was having fun in the dream. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. In the dream it was her and her husband, Bill, walking around New York City, and New York City is completely deserted, and they're both naked. All right. And they end up somewhere in a beautiful garden. You okay? And she's there. I mean, she couldn't find him, and I think this is how the story goes. And she couldn't find him in the garden. She was alone, and she was just lying down, spread out in the garden, just enjoying the beautiful nature and whatever. Oh, and then all these people show up, and and the naval officer from the story earlier in the movie, the one that she wanted to cheat on Bill with, and she has sex with him, and then she has sex with a bunch of men, and she rarely ever, in reference to the sex act, Alice rarely ever uses any word other than fuck. She always calls it fucking. The only time she calls it making love is when she talks about having sex with the naval officer. Even with her husband, she calls it fucking. Everybody else, fucking, fucking, fucking. But with the naval officer, it's making love. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to have to watch the video or the movie again. But anyway, and then all these people, all these men, I think, have her. And it's a terrible experience. And, while this is happening to her, she's being, these men are having their way with her, one after the other, and then all the people around, hundreds and hundreds of people, are also fucking. And then Bill shows up again, and they all start laughing at him, and she starts laughing too because she's scared of what will happen if she doesn't laugh at him, and whatever. And she, that's why she was, laughing when Bill found her sleeping, and she was laughing in her sleep anyway. That story sounds a lot, it reminds me a lot of the Garden of Eden story that I just told you. Everything but the fruit. The only thing that's missing is the fruit. Okay? The apple, right? And the apple has become a symbol of knowledge. All right? That's why when you were a little kid, maybe you brought your teacher an apple. I never did that because I don't kiss asses. Okay? I don't do that shit. But I've seen apples on teachers' desks, and that's why you give your teacher, when you're a kid, an apple, because apples are symbolic of knowledge. They come from the tree of knowledge. I think that's what it's called in the Garden of Eden. And that's why, we are computer equipment, laptops, iPads, cell phones, desktop, the Apple company. There's an apple on each and every one of those Apple products. It symbolizes knowledge, and there's a bite taken out of it. Look at your stuff if you have Apple products. Okay. Now, what's missing from the story that Alice told Bill about her nightmare? Okay. Where she's nude and he's nude, and just like Adam and Eve become aware of their own nudity after being expelled from the Garden of Eden. What's missing from the story, her story, the nightmare story, which I'll have to listen to again and analyze a little bit deeper. But what's missing is the apple and the snake. Okay, and this movie is called, what's it called? Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut. And just like Josephine is really not into Napoleon, she marries him out of necessity. Same thing, I think, going on with Bill and Alice. Alice is not there because she's really in love with him. She would rather be with somebody like the naval officer that she almost cheated with. Did she cheat? I don't know. It's maybe a little bit ambiguous, but she said she was ready to give up everything and throw away her marriage and her, abandon her child, everything, just to be with this naval officer that she remembers seeing when they were on vacation in Cape Cod one year. Okay. Oof, like I said, Alice is not a perfect person, just like Wendy isn't. Okay, Alice, I have issues with Alice. I have such like serious issues with her. Um, is she a victim of her environment, of her circumstances? I don't know. I don't know how much she's a willing participant in her own life. I don't know how much volition or agency she has. I really don't. I really don't. To her credit, she has the opportunity to cheat on Bill with a very sexy man at the Christmas party that Ziegler's throwing it in the start of the movie, but she doesn't. As far as we know, she doesn't. And he sure does try. He sure does try to get her alone and away from everybody and so he can have his way with her. And she says, "Nope, I'm a married woman." So to her credit, she's strong, right? But Eyes Wide Shut. The movie's called Eyes Wide Shut, and people are wondering what the hell that movie's about. Like I said, the Garden of Eden story that kind of is retold in her dream. It's missing the apple, as far as I remember. There's no mention of an apple in Alice's nightmare. And there's also, it's missing the apple, and it's also missing the serpent. That is usually interpreted as a snake. Not always. Sometimes they don't say specifically snake. Sometimes they say, yeah, serpent. We're not sure what kind, but a serpent. But snake. Okay, let me tell you about snakes. Where's the snake? I had the thing here. Well, there it is. Okay. Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos. Okay. But snakes don't really have eyelids. Or at one point I thought they had two sets of eyelids, an outer eyelid and an inner eyelid. No. It's called, I hope I'm not pronouncing this incorrectly, but brill or brille, B-R-I-L-L-E. With French, the double L is pronounced kind of like a Y, brille. No, not like the cheese. Completely different. But what is a brille or brill or brille? They don't have a pronunciation thing here, so I'm just going to call it brill. The brill, also called the ocular scale, eye cap, or spectacle, is the layer of transparent, immovable, disc-shaped skin or scale covering the eyes of some animals for protection, especially in animals without eyelids. In squamate reptiles, both the nictitating membrane and the eyelids have been suggested as the evolutionary origin of brill, but embryonic studies supports the fusion of the dorsal and ventral eyelids. Brill means spectacles or glasses in German. Oh, okay. It means spectacles or glasses in German, Norwegian, and Danish. Brill. Ay, ay, ay. Again, I would love to know how to pronounce that properly. In snakes, there are no eyelids. Hello. And the brill is clear and cannot be distinguished except when the animal is becoming ready for ecdysis. What is that? Oh, molting, so shedding their skin. At that time, it becomes cloudy and is visible as a cover over the eye, as you can see in this picture, I guess. When the snake molts, the brill is also shed, generally inside out as part of its skin. The brills protect their eyes from dust and dirt and give them a glassy-eyed, blank appearance. Snakes, flap-footed lizards, night lizards, and some skinks have brills. All geckos, except those in the subfamily Eublepharinae, eyelid geckos, possess brills. Some groups of bony fish have a transparent eyelid known as the adipose eyelid. Some reptiles, mammals, and birds have a translucent third eyelid that moves horizontally across the eye, called the nictitating membrane. Okay, that's it. It's not a long article, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Once again, what's the name of the movie? Eyes Wide Shut. And again, there's a lot of references to Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden, nudity, and being aware of your nudity as kind of like this punishment from God for your transgression, or Adam and Eve's transgression, eating the apple. Okay, in Alice, once again, where's the thing? In Alice's dream, we don't, there's no mention of the apple, but she sounds a lot like Eve. And there's a garden, and there's an awareness of nudity, and there's fear. Just like I said, the expulsion from the Garden of Eden. But there's no mention of the apple, and there's no mention of the snake. But we do see apples in the movie. Do we see snakes? And I'm going to have to look. Take a second look, watch it again. But maybe the snakes, we wouldn't see them in artwork or anywhere else. Maybe the snakes are not necessarily actual snakes, or whatever. Maybe they're people. Maybe the guy that was flirting it with her very heavily at the party, maybe he's a snake. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look. And again, like I said, Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, the whole thing, it's there in this movie. And the Eyes Wide Shut, like I said, the name of the movie, Eyes Wide Shut. Who can have eyes that are wide shut? Snakes. Because of this brill thing. Okay? Their eyes are closed by the brill, the eye cap, or spectacle, but they can see through it, so their eyes are open. Okay, what does that mean? That is in reference to the snake. The one who has their eyes wide shut is the serpent itself. All right? And the serpent's relation to stuff in this movie is like the same as the relation to the serpent in the Adam and Eve Garden of Eden story. So this is about sin. And is Stanley, where's the page for the, there it is. Is Stanley exploring the idea of sin? Is he exploring the origins of like what that means? Is he exploring people think this movie is about sex because of stuff like this, because we see a butt. Okay, we see lots and lots of butts. That means it must be about sex. No, damn it. I don't think this movie is about sex at all. No. We see a lot of butts. We see a lot of nudity. But, but it's not about sex. And if you can't think about stuff, every time you see nudity, it just like, it distracts you to that degree every single time you see nudity. Like, I don't know what to say. Maybe you need to grow up a little bit. We all have bodies. You like past a certain age in your life, nudity shouldn't be that interesting or that exciting. You shouldn't always act like it's the first time you've seen a naked person. Every time you see a naked person, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But like Stanley put the nudity in there. It is a distraction. Is it a test of some kind? I don't know. Because if you remember at the time this movie was marketed, before it was released, the commercials and everything really, really focused on the sexual stuff, which there's not a lot of. Like hardly anything. And again, there's some nudity, and I'm going to talk about the nudity and the quality and the nature of the nudity. And why potentially Stanley put it there. Yeah, Adam and Eve were naked, and they didn't know it until they were expelled from the Garden of Eden. But there's more. Nudity is a huge part of Greek culture, ancient Greek culture. When you see those statues that are completely naked, they're meant those. It's usually male nudity in Greek culture, but also nudity was thought of as ennobling. as opposed to ancient Egypt, where if you saw a naked figure in the art, that meant that that person was a slave. Now, we'll talk about that some other time. Okay, I think the naked people in this movie are slaves too. Okay, and again, and we're going to talk about it in the context of Napoleon. Okay, Mr. Nap Nap Bonaparte and his teddy bear. All right, and him dying on an island that was called Saint Helena, the same name as their daughter in this movie. There's something going on. There's something going on. You know, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do more Eyes Wide Shut videos in the future, just like I'm going to do more Full Metal Jacket videos in the future. You know I love me some Stanley. You know, I'm probably forgetting something. I can't cover everything now. This is just my reaction. This is Stanley's... like I said, he really wanted to do that Napoleon movie. They didn't let him. And he's maybe the most Napoleon out of all the Napoleon movies after 2001 would be Eyes Wide Shut. But they all have elements of the unrealized Napoleon project, but especially Eyes Wide Shut. And we'll talk about that in the future. I don't know how I'm going to do this, you guys. I don't know how I'm going to do this, because this is going to be even more difficult for me to talk about than The Shining. And you've seen how much I've done, or how much I've tried to do, my attempts with The Shining. This is completely different. If you looked at The Shining and then, you know, then you watch The Shining, watch Eyes Wide Shut, I would totally forgive you, and not even hold it against you in any way, shape, or form for not being able to spot right away that both of those films were done by the same director. Okay? Those movies, Stanley had a special kind of genius. And he wasn't a one-note kind of guy. Not all of his movies look the same. There's always... After The Shining and after, there's radiators. There's always radiators. There's radiators in Eyes Wide Shut too. And there's military. The naval officer, remember him? You know I'm going to have to dig into this. Help me, though. Help me dig into this. There's our Stanley. He's directing Barry Lyndon in this picture. Please help me. I want to do another Eyes Wide Shut video. I have so many things I want to talk about, but then again, I don't know where to begin. We already talked about her butt and all the butts and the Greek temple nature of this thing and all the books and all the artwork and the potential, the possibility that Bill Hartford... we're dealing with an unreliable narrator in this movie too. Just who is the unreliable narrator? Probably Bill. Probably Tom Cruise's character. But again, you can't ever be 100% sure about anything when you're dealing with Stanley Kubrick. So is Alice the unreliable one? I don't know. But I'm thinking, at this point, I'm thinking it's Bill. And I don't know quite what to think. I don't know quite what to think. Y'all, my good people, my good viewers and listeners, please tell me. Please let me know. In my next Eyes Wide Shut video, I'm going to make it viewer's choice. You tell me what you want me to talk about. Okay? In the comments of this video, and I've been talking for over an hour, so if you're still here, you're a real one. Now, I know a couple of you in the comments before, you've been excited about Eyes Wide Shut, and so one of you, I wish I could remember who, is it Need to Know? I'm not sure, said that they feel about Eyes Wide Shut the way I feel about the Shining. So, and you know, that person, whoever it is, and all of you, and there's a couple of you who are Eyes Wide Shut aficionados. Tell me what you want me to think about or touch upon in this movie or explore in my next video about it. And there's going to be another video. I don't know how to do this. I'm not going to do it like The Shining. I'm not going to do it like Full Metal Jacket. I want to do it like, it deserves its own kind of thing. It deserves its own kind of atmosphere, right? Tell me, what do you want to talk about? If you don't tell me, I'll have to come up with something on my own, and I will. Uh, possibly the nudity and like why it's there. Why it's there. And particularly dissecting that, because that's like a big thing. That's one of the reasons why people seek this movie out. They think it's going to be a porno. No, absolutely not. Again, butts. Come on now, we all need to stop it, because there's not, the sex in this movie is not really. It's symbolic of something else. Okay, that's what I think. And like I said, there's so many references to Inanna in this movie, and the Virgin Mary, and Eve, and the whole thing. So let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about. I'm taking requests. Okay, so that's that, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, it's long-winded, just like all of my videos. I'm going to try and find a good, if I really wanted a lot of views on this video, I would just find like, I just put a picture of Nicole Kidman's butt. That should do it. But I can't do that, so I'm going to have to figure something out. Speaking of which, I was doing a little bit of analysis, a little bit of research on my channel to figure out which of my videos like gets the most views and why. So maybe I can duplicate that again in future videos. Well, here it is. It's Understanding The Shining Part 3. Are there some hoes at the Overlook Hotel? That's my most popular video, and I'm pretty sure 3.2 thousand views. And I'm pretty sure it's just because the word hoe is in the title. Is that what I'm going to have to do to get people interested, or at least get people to watch my videos? I'm going to have to keep talking about hoes and hoochies and sexual stuff. I don't know. But with Eyes Wide Shut, there's a legitimate reason for me to do so. So this might be, that might be the video series that like finally gets me monetized. Who knows? I'm gonna talk every title. I'm gonna put the word hoe, when I'm talking about Eyes Wide Shut, because there's plenty of them in the movie. Let me tell you. And not just Domino. No, Domino's like the only one that isn't hiding that she's a hoe. Like the rest of them, like they don't call themselves that, but that's what they are, including Alice. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. Again, let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about the next time I do Eyes Wide Shut video. My next video after this is probably gonna be FMJ Part 2. And again, I do want to do the Four Amigos video, Ullman, and then the other three, Durkin, Watson, Halloran. And I'll just go from there. So I hope you're enjoying this, my good people, the ones that have stuck with me this whole time. I appreciate you so much. I hope you enjoyed the coffee, right? If you had any. Returning viewers, thank you for returning. New viewers, thank you for being new. Subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you enjoy the videos, let people know about them. I can't wait to read your comments and your suggestions for my next Eyes Wide Shut video on what to talk about. And please don't forget to hit the notification bell. Like, how are you gonna know when's the next time I put up another video if you don't hit the notification bell? For goodness sake, don't you want to know the next time when I make a video, like be alerted immediately? I would want to know. I hit the bell on all of the channels that I'm subscribed to. I don't know what y'all are waiting for, but but never mind that. So until next time, I don't know what I'm gonna do. A viewer mail, a Full Metal Jacket, an Understanding. It's gonna be one of those coming up. So I can't wait for your suggestions in the comments section. So until next time, you guys, until next time when I find yet another reason to talk at you in one of these videos, I'm gonna go ahead and bid you bye-bye. So bye-bye, everybody.